before I left for Montana, a number of parishioners showed me an article about a unfortunate young lady who was killed by a grizzly bear in a town called Ovando in Montana. They said, "Do you know where that is?" I said, "I most certainly do." Ovando is this little tiny village just outside of Missoula. And it's also a place where my brother and I go fishing quite frequently. There's a couple of streams and rivers up there that we like to go. So you just never know what kind of wild animals you're going to see in Montana. And the one I just showed in the beginning of this talk is one of the ones I had to wrestle with, a very, very wild mountain lion named Rose. And you can see a pretty intimidating animal. Recently in daily mass, we were looking at a passage in the Old Testament from the book of Numbers, chapter 12. It's an intriguing passage. It starts with a conversation involving three people: Moses, his wife Miriam, and the priest Aaron. Miriam is complaining, saying that, why does Moses only have to be the only prophet? Doesn't God speak to other people as well? At one point, soon after that, God expresses his great displeasure with Miriam and with Aaron. And Miriam ends up, as a punishment, turning into a leper. What is interesting is that if you look at this chapter 12, what is not included in this passage, the line just before the passage starts is Miriam complaining, not that the fact that she has not been asked to be a prophet, but the fact that Moses has taken another wife, a non-Jewish wife, and Miriam naturally is not pleased about that. So that's kind of like the real reason why she's complaining. The other thing is they don't tell you what happens to Miriam. Yes, she becomes a leper, and then what they do is they banish her from the community for 7 weeks, and it is not until the 7 weeks are done and she is received back into the community that the community basically pulls up stakes and moves on. I thought this was a really intriguing passage from an Ignatian point of view. St. Ignatius is always talking about looking not the way things are on the surface, but what's really going on underneath. We're talking about words like obedience, which means obedire, to listen to or listen for. It is about the idea of discernment of spirits. It is about double-clicking on behaviors and seeing what the real motivation is. Ignatian talks about this in his spiritual exercise. And I think sometimes it's a good idea for us to kind of double-click on our behaviors, what we say, what we do, and maybe even bring it to somebody else and have them examine what we say and do and allow them to ask the question, okay, well, what are you really upset about? Or why are you really doing this? Or why did you come to this decision? Especially if it's something somewhat out of character for us. That can be a very humbling experience because we get called out and the truth comes forward and the Holy Spirit can inspire the hearts and minds of that other people. And all of a sudden we have to face ourselves in the mirror and we have to engage in a little bit of conversion or metanoia or move in a different direction. I've posted the passage in this porch talk, and hopefully it will be some food for thought, and it will be something fruitful in your relationship with Christ and in your own spiritual discernment.